Thanks for staying with us. So we saw a scary message on social media where a woman came out. She was crying out that her boyfriend of 5 years now has been sending sexual messages to her daughter, who's about to turn 10. According to her, she says that the boyfriend had come into her life when the daughter was 5 years old and saw the daughter growing up as a young girl. So it was shocking for her daughter to come report to her that he's been sending her sexual messages, scary messages, and that she's spoken to the family members about it. Some of them are sort of supporting this particular boyfriend, but she doesn't care anymore. She wants everything to scatter. And I looked through the messages, like it was so scary for me. I wanted to read and see what was happening. One of the messages says, he was inviting the girl to come and lie down with him. And the girl says, you want me to lay in there with you? And he says, he was asking, you want me to lay in there with you or you are fine? The girl says, I'm fine. And he says, okay, I'm just bored. I hate when mommy go to work and I have nothing to do at all. Used a foul language there. And then she replies, I'm watching TikTok looking for things to do. He now says, like fun stuff. He said, yeah, do you ever get head before?
Oh.
And she says, why? He said, just asking. The messages are not, in fact, I don't even have to read them out here, but it was really, really scary. And she went ahead to say, no, I don't want to because it will make me feel uncomfortable. I'm only 10 years old. I'm not fully an adult, so no. And he replies, it's not going to make you feel uncomfortable. You're going to be doing it soon. But okay, I'll leave you alone. I'll just let mommy know you're watching nasty stuff. So the conversation has been going on and on and on while he's trying to groom the girl into doing sexual stuff with him, and the girl is resisting and had to go report. In fact, the matter it tired me, but I want to know the thoughts of the ladies first of all when you saw this story, and also how you think we can begin to preserve our children against some of these predators who are with us, like almost family members, boyfriends, uncles, aunties, and the likes. But let's start with your thoughts on this.
There's a reason why the Child Rights Act makes it a strict offense, meaning that I didn't know does not exonerate a perpetrator. So for instance, if a girl is quickly developed, at 12, some people already have all their body, not be like us who dry those days, but some children develop fast. And then you come and say to the court, in case of a sexual offense charge, that I didn't know she was 12, she looks 18. It doesn't exonerate you, it's a strict offense. Lack of knowledge of the age of the girl doesn't excuse you. You ought to know the sexual partner that you have, that level of maturity before you do that. In one of the chats, you will see that he's saying to the girl that I won't do anything to you without your permission. Meaning that if a 12-year-old were to consent to sex because of exposure, maybe through phones and all of that, you go climb them. Hi. Fear no go catch you. That kind of thing. And so that area of consent is something that I want to use to warn people. It's the fastest way to end up in jail, and sometimes in life sentences if the girl were to end up dead because of further post cover-up activities like an abortion or even death while trying to have a baby. Once when I was in hospital 8 years ago, there was a 16-year-old girl brought from Anambra to the hospital. She was fully pregnant and she does not have the cervix to push that baby. So it was an emergency case. They rushed her down. Maternal and Child Care Center in Lagos, amazing job they did. They quickly moved her in for CS because, with the consent. And it was found that it was a relative's abuse. Because I saw her mom, the family were very, very kind of quiet around her. So when they left her, we were on bed rest. We covered up the girl, asking her, why are you in this state? You're such a child and everything. And she said it was, that they're saying she seduced an in-law. And so, some of these funny things that happen, thank God we have laws that has not taken, when I'm talking about position and advantage of one person in a sexual offense, people don't get it. If you're much older, you're more mature, you're in an advantageous position such that you're an authority, power, a lecturer, a parent, an uncle, a provider, you have the power to say no, to end it. The other person can just be vulnerable at the time. And so when they are proving such a case against you and you're coming with excuses of somebody's witch hunting you because of your position, you must be stupid. It happens in the IDP camps where mothers are being called prostitutes when they have to prostitute to get food for their children. When somebody in authority should be giving them their rights in the food that they have brought to the camp is saying to them, I will give you, come back in 2 days, come back in 3 days, 2 weeks, you know what to do. And then tomorrow, they were adults, they were consenting adults. You know, when you have used one arm or one thing or the other to force them into, and their vulnerability to accepting something that they would ordinarily not do. Everybody, not be everybody where you see for street, they prostitute voluntarily. And some people know what they are doing when and then they come around and twist the cases. You know, these are some of the things that we're talking about. This person has not only been able to win the trust of family, of the mom and the girl in question. So the conversation, you see the way the chat was leading her on. Yes. Tomorrow, at the end of the day, you say that a 10-year-old seduced you. He led you. No, now you they lead and go where you don't they groom her now. It's called grooming. Yeah. You're telling her to give her sexual pleasure. Some people call it play. They will be grooming the child, calling it play. There was a girl that the case broke. The girl was saying, I like that play Uncle something used to play with me. To the mom. And I'm just grateful for this mom because the pressure is already coming as we expect. And she's saying, just be grateful you are not with them. Because you see some mothers be supporting them and be saying, casting their daughters out. You know. What do you think?
Reading the story, I must commend the mom. The mom did a very good job raising that child because at 10, with the smartness that she exhibited, man, that's kudos to the girl and all because and the fact that the mother took the stand up, as in she was supporting her own daughter is just is amazing. Honestly, I'm really impressed because I've seen where a lot of times when something like that happens. Most times, the mothers always take the side of the boyfriend. Yeah. And they always, you know, in fact, at some point, they will even send the girl out of the house. Out of the house. So for this one, she's ready to forfeit the relationship and let that relationship go. That's very, very, I love that. Yeah. So I love that the fact that she's doing that. And, you know, first of all, I am trying to find out where the problem is from. Is it that the girl was given phone early? But even if the girl wasn't given a phone, I think he will have gone to talk to her physically, verbally, and then there will not be any evidence. I'm sure she will tell her mom, and the mom will not even agree. Then at the same time, I'm trying to figure out where, as in, was she exposed to social media so early? Because the girl totally understands
everything the guy was trying to say.
So that means the mother taught her, you know, the right things, you know, like sex education, and she was able to know that this guy is crossing his boundaries. So I'm trying to find out trying to see where, you know, where the fault of the mother is. And, you know, it comes to where it just boils down to the fact that sometimes I'm like, when a woman wants to go on into, like, when you have children, the thing that you always put into consideration is the fact that when divorce is going to happen in marriage, what you think about is when you go with young children, you know you are going to be in love with somebody. You just be wondering if that person you can trust that person enough to leave your kids, because that person will want to come in like a father to those kids. And sometimes they are not really sincere. They're not really sincere. So most times, a lot of people, like for me, my kids, I don't even allow them close to uncles. You know, I don't even want stories that touch at all. Uncles and all. There was a time one of my my younger cousin came to the house. And, you know, he brought out his hand and he was telling my daughters to come and hug. And my daughters were looking at him like this. Like, kuzo. The guy was just, kuzo, get the cousin. They refused, you know. And then later on, one of my daughters went and met him and said, no, mommy said we should not hug. It starts like that. Sometimes some parents even tell their daughters, don't sit on anybody's laps because it starts from there. Yeah. So I like the fact that the mother really did a good job and all. So the guy should at least face the law. I've seen another video where the daughter went to stay with his brother. The daughter went to stay with his brother, and then, you know, she came back with blood stains around her. So then
her own brother?
The father's, that's her uncle.
Okay.
So she came back with blood stains, and then the father asked her, what happened? When he saw the blood stains, he didn't even wait for her to explain anything. He went to that house and he killed his brother. Straight up. I saw that story. I think
it was an Italian, Abi?
Yes, I think
Spanish,
it was America. Yeah, so I think they sentenced him.
Even in court itself, one jump.
People were like, yeah.
He jumped from the dock into and punched the guy in the middle of court. The two of them were double sentenced.
Honestly.
Yes, so provocation sustained.
Yeah, it's really a sad situation, you know, and the thing is, this is as old as time, and it does not look like it will ever go away. There will always be evil people amongst us. There will always be people who will take advantage of the vulnerable amongst us, and then we just pray that in raising our children, we raise them to be aware, to be confident in protecting themselves, and that we make ourselves available for our children to be able to speak to us. You know, you both covered, you know, most of the part, but the part I also like to cover is the fact that there was a mention of being by herself, watching TikToks, nothing to do, you know, things like that. This is something I'm, you know, learning about, this allowing our children to be on their own in a way that, okay, so there's TV, there are gadgets and all these things, but there's no human communication as such. You know, we need to do a lot more in being present in our children's lives, especially when they're growing up. You know, we feel like, thank God now I have some time for myself. But there are many pre-teens to teenagers. One of the things that when you sit to talk to them is that they don't feel that they're getting enough time with their parents. You know, I know that life is hard and life is tough. We're running out, we're trying to make ends meet, we're trying to do things, but we need to create time for our children, the time where they know that they can speak to us about anything. I don't know what sort of relationship that mother and this child have worked on, but obviously this is a girl that knows that she can talk to her mother about something. And we don't also know how long these conversations have gone on, because he knew that the child had been consuming porn. And he said, I'm going to report you
to your mom.
You know, and she says, I don't do that anymore. Meaning he's aware of something. So there should not be anybody that knows something secretive or special or different that you do not know about your child. Don't give any evil person an opportunity to think that they have a special kind of relationship with your child. You are the one that should have that sort of relationship with your child. I know that there are some parents that have worked really hard, but the devil is just constantly walking around, you know, waiting for when you slip a bit so that they put their head. So there's prayer definitely, but we need to empower our children. Unfortunately, we need to start them younger. When we were younger, some of these things that they convert, we did not know. We didn't see anything. It was far away from us. But now they know so much. The knowledge is there, but so we have to guide them. Okay, now you know this. These are the sort of things that is happening. How would you handle it? If this was to happen, how would you handle it? Show them the stories of how children have been lied to or, you know, cornered into doing something. Children, it's so easy to get children to do things by saying to them, I will not play with you. I will tell your mother, or I will kill your parents. Sometimes these children think that they are protecting their family because they are, you know, and find themselves in situations like that. So the important message here is be your child's the number one person. Talk to your child. Let your child know that they can talk to you and they can trust you. And then when you stand up for your child, the power that you have given that child and the power you've given yourself for life. Because we've had situations where your child would tell you something, the adults there, they know, they have the words to express themselves. A child may not even be able to express to you how they feel or what has happened. They'll just let you know that they were uncomfortable. But the adult has all the words, and they are more likely to turn your attention, make you feel like that person is just saying things or just saying things. But please pay attention to your child. You know your child more than anyone. Stand up for your child in front of the adult. Let the child know that you are standing. You can stand up for that child
in front of
anyone. No one will intimidate you or stop you from supporting your child and standing for your child. That's important as well.
We'll take a short break here. When we come back, this conversation continues. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.